pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting of the Fairfield Town Council to order. The first order of business is public announcements. The town office and all non-emergency services will be closed on Monday, February 18th in observance of President's Day. The second order of business is public hearings. There are no public hearings scheduled today. The third order of business are public comments. Members of the public may speak to the council on any item or reserve the right to speak on a specific item that is on the meeting agenda when the item is addressed. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Seeing none. The fourth order of business are reports from staff and committees. Town manager's report.
Okay, so January 31st, I attended the SEDC Board of Directors meeting. Discussion included broadband initiatives for Somerset County, workforce development, and the RLF portfolio. SEDC's former executive director, Heather Johnson, was recently confirmed as commissioner for the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, which is very exciting for that group. On February 1st, I attended the KSTD solar array celebration. KSTD worked with Revision Energy to install a 2,808 panel solar array that will generate enough power to cover 84% of the facility's energy costs while saving them $2 million over its lifetime. What was interesting is that they had said that this array going online was the 8th largest array in the state. So just for perspective, this being 2,808 panels, it's over 15,000 panels that's going to be going on the town's closed landfill. So it'll put us up a little bit higher than 8th in the state. So that's kind of interesting. On February 4th, Community Television Association of Maine, which is known as CTAM, held a meeting at KV Cog's location regarding the proposed federal changes that could affect franchise fees and the local ability to regulate our right-of-way with regard to cable companies. There was a discussion about franchise negotiations also. So the CTAM, as well as Maine Municipal Association and a bunch of folks around the state, are working on these potential new regulations and are writing to the FCC to make sure that it doesn't affect our franchise fees. Basically what they're saying is that the cable company is allowed to assign a price to anything that they give us and deduct it from our franchise fees as an in-kind contribution. So if you have a television station or if you have drops in the fire station, the town office, the library, they can assess a fee to those and deduct them from our franchise fees. They alone are able to set what those rates are. The way the current law is written, the municipality has no conversation rights within that piece. And then the other piece is that with their new wireless processes, they'll be able to put their small towers anywhere within the municipality's right of way, and the municipality would have zero regulation over them. And that's not something that they believe they should be able to do. It's not in keeping with state law and the municipality's ability to monitor right of ways within the state of Maine. So they're watching that. The planning board did meet on the February 4th as well. That Monday evening, the conditional use permit was issued to HEP USA for the solar project on the town's landfill, with two conditions. One being the DEP permit amendment needs to be done, and two, that the land lease and operations agreement with the town is taken care of and successfully executed. February 5th, Economic and Community Development Committee met. We will be having a booth at the B2B in March. Central Maine Growth Council has a press release ready to go out right before the B2B regarding our facade and marketing program, so to get a little bit more edge on that. February 6th, I attended the Meet the Reps event at the Chase Forum in Waterville. February 12th was the KVCOG Board of Directors meeting. Just as a reminder, KVCOG's meet and greet is on February 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. if any of you are going. And just as general update, a cell phone company is looking at a piece of town property behind Public Works as a potential cell tower site. And also I have been put in touch with a company that is looking for a location on Route 201 To install a car charging station, the piece of town property near Circle K on Main Street has been put forth to them as a potential option. And that's it for me.
Are there any other committee reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to the fifth order of business, to waive the reading of and accept the minutes as printed or amended for meeting number 2019-02, held on January 23rd, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes? All opposed? All abstaining? That carries. Sixth order of business, the treasurer's warrant. To approve the treasurer's warrant 48 in the amount of $563,228.01.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the treasurer's warrant? That's 4-0. Seventh order of business, to take action on the following items of business. Item 19-09, ordered that the town council hereby considers and approves the proposal from Stevens Electric and Pump Services Incorporated up to the amount of $5,073 for Valley Farm Pump Station upgrades to be expended from sewer repair and replace capital reserve.
So moved.
Second.
Question. Was this the only estimate, or was there up to 3 estimates on this?
This is the only estimate because Stevens Pumps is the only one that provides
Okay.
the service on these types of pumps.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving it? All right. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, that carries. Item number 19-10, ordered that the town council hereby signs a quitclaim deed for the following property, 105 Main Street, map 18, lot 112.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Where is it? It's at 105, but I'm not familiar with
That's
the
right across
property.
the funeral home, right in the mouth of the,
Across from Laurie Brothers?
yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, why just the tax lien in 1979, all the way back that, not all the way forward?
So sometimes what happens is that during a title search, when somebody's purchasing a property, they will find a missing discharge, simply. So what happens is that it sits out there until somebody goes back that far and notices it. And once they bring it forward to us, because it's beyond the redemption period for a regular tax lien, which is the 18 months, we're required to do a quitclaim deed. And it's only releasing that lien.
Okay.
So they didn't bring it, there wasn't anything else.
So
that
this
was worth it.
company's gonna buy it, or is this?
It gets quitclaim to the existing owner.
Okay.
Is who it
All
goes
right,
to.
because I know someone's living there, that's why.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it goes to the
Okay.
existing owner.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstaining? That carries. Our eighth order of business, council workshop and other business. Discuss police department Dodge Ram truck selling versus trade options.
Do they have a quote on what they want for this vehicle, if they're going to auction it off or anything, what its value is, or?
So currently, trade-in value is listed at $21,000 is what's on the current offer from the dealership. However, there are many folks who believe we could get slightly more than that, which is the reason for putting it out for the $23,500 to see if we can sell it outright. So the biggest reason to have this conversation was we did not want to advertise this for, say, the next 30 days to see if anybody will pay the $23,500, and then have council say, well, we don't want to keep with the 2-year plan of replacing the Dodge, because then we would have be getting ready to sell a truck. So what we wanted to do was have a conversation about this and whether you think the 2-year time frame is still an appropriate path for us forward, because remember, this is the detective's vehicle, so it does, we want to swap them out on a more regular basis so people are not used to who it is. And then before, when this project was put forth, this process was put forth 2 years ago when we bought this vehicle, we were under the impression that it was only gonna cost us about $2,000 to replace the vehicle, because they would give us we got it at such a below invoice price, and then such a much higher return value.
I understand it's still under warranty, and how long is the warranty still going to be in effect?
It would be whatever the factory warranty is on Dodges, which I don't know what that is off the top of my
Because
head.
it says it's still under warranty.
Yeah. It's low mileage on it too, it's probably up to 100,000 miles
No.
warranty.
So because of the cost changes in metal is one of the reasons we're not seeing such an aggressive program, is what we've been told. Even with the 21,000 trade-in, we're still only looking at about 8,700 if we go with the V8. Last time we decided to go with the V8 simply because of the fact that its trade-in value would be much higher than if it was a V6, and it would be worth more.
Knowledge is low on it.
But wanted to have a conversation about it and to see what the council's wishes were, thoughts were, all of that. The chief's thought process is that whether it be a local business or municipality that could benefit from this vehicle, knowing that its mileage is low, we have all its maintenance records, all of that. And then get a little bit higher amount than what was on the dealers.
Did
number for
anybody
trade.
have any ideas of perhaps maybe finding out or getting an estimate of having it repainted a different color and saving money on that fact so that it wouldn't be recognized if it was still being used?
And change the plate.
And change the plate?
I don't think that we looked into that for this vehicle.
Is it?
No.
I do know that painting vehicles is really expensive. Replacing my singular plastic bumper is going to cost me $1,000. That's just a bumper on a car, and this is a full truck, so.
But every 2 years, it's gonna keep costing us money. Every 2 years, they want to change this out.
They want
But-
to change the color every 2 years?
No, they want to change the vehicle, Courtney.
Well, yeah. Yeah, no, changing the vehicle every 2 years I have no problem with, because I'd rather change the vehicle every 2 years for $4,000 than have it blow up and cost us $25,000 all at once.
Yeah, but at that low mileage, I don't think it's going to be blowing up anytime soon.
Only 2 years.
I guess I'm assuming that that it would be the chief's opinion that the failure to change out the vehicle would hinder the operational effectiveness of our detective.
Yes.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't hurt to find out what the cost to change the color would be, if that's and if that's going to be an effective
And
effective
if it
strategy.
isn't, then we can bring it back to the table, can we not?
Well, I think we have to bring it back to the table because we're not prepared to take action today, and with Councillor Pishotti not here, I think it would not be appropriate to take this up for action straight from the workshop.
Right.
And he didn't have any reason to believe we were going to take a vote on this today.
Exactly.
So with that, if we can get that information, I think we might be in a position to have it as an action item next meeting and
Sure.
bring
With that additional
the
information.
whole council up to
Yep.
speed with that additional information, and we can make an informed
They can
decision
get
then.
estimates on
Yeah.
it anyway.
Can
Right.
we also figure out how much longer it's on warranty?
Yeah,
Either
I'll find out
mileage or
exactly what the
years?
warranty is on that.
Perfect.
I guess the other
I
issue, of
just
course,
don't
would be
remember off the
if
top of
we
my head.
delay trading it in this year and we're putting it off for 3 or more years, the value of the trade-in also
Yeah.
presumably
Will
We're
continue
not
to
really
decrease.
delaying the
Yeah.
trade-in, we're just looking for other options, and if it's not a good option, then we'll come back and do what we need to do.
But I
Bless
think in deciding what the cheapest option is, not only do we have to look at what the cost would be to do it this year in
Yes.
February, but
Well,
also
Yes.
projected further loss from the trade-in in the future.
But we have another meeting in
2
at the
weeks.
27th anyways. I mean, it's not as though
We'll bring it back
we're
then.
running out of time, right?
Good.
Yeah.
The next item for the workshop is to discuss a proposed resolution regarding the rules of order. And as the one who proposed this resolution, I'll just give a quick overview of what the current situation is and why I think we need this resolution. So according to our council policies, we adopted Robert's Rules of Order as the rules the council is supposed to follow. And under Robert's Rules of Order, officially, the chair is not supposed to debate or vote. Now, in large bodies like the U.S. Congress or the House of Commons, that makes a lot of sense. You don't need every single person debating and voting on every single issue. But there's only 5 of us, and the people of the town elect each of us to serve as decision makers, not just have one person facilitate the meetings and everyone else decide things. And so in order to clarify what has frankly been the council's practice for quite a while, I think that we should adopt this rule to essentially affirm that the chair, in addition to their role as the sort of caretaker of the meeting, is also a full participant in the course of the meeting.
I agree.
So I think with that, unless there's any opposition to it at this point, if we can put that on as an action item for our next meeting, just to confirm that.
Yeah. That's good.
Did you read this?
Yes.
Yes, it's very
nicely
good.
written.
Yeah, very good. Like it. Okay.
Our next item is to discuss the town council administrative policy regarding the Crawford Fund. And I will have the town manager give us an overview of the proposed changes.
So this is the section from the council's administrative policies. With all of the research and everything that we had done in regards to the Crawford Fund committee member, and realizing that there was nothing formal that dictated what it was or how its makeup was, and knowing that there were also some additional changes that we needed to do with this ordinance, we went forth and put this together. Basically what this does is it simplifies but yet provides a little bit more detail in the process of disbursement. In the past, council has received information regarding the prior calendar year's performance of the fund, as well as various things such as 10 years worth of disbursements, and also the rate of inflation over a 10-year period, which may influence the amount of funds available to be dispersed. Well, by simplifying it to the simple fact that it says this policy in the town make available to the beneficiary not more than 90% of the annual January 1st through December 31st income earned from Crawford Fund investments. That's it. The rate of inflation hasn't really had any bearing on any disbursement that we have done, so that was removed. Also, we removed a section stating the fact that the town, as trustees, shall consider current and historical fund performance data when determining when it would be prudent to make a disbursement. We're putting it more detailed to the fact of it will be cover the times of the calendar year, when we would be sending the information to the school, when the school would send their information back to the council, and going forward as to when the council would meet to disperse the funds if they were approved, throughout all of the various steps. One of the things I did do is reach out to the high school principal. Principal Campbell is the one that chairs this committee, and for the school system, to make sure that also the process was in keeping with the school's timetable, and there wasn't anything additional that they saw that maybe would help ease how this works, where both entities are dependent on the other for information throughout this process. And then the other piece that it did was put in the fact that it added the piece about the appointment. So it says the town council chairman or the chairman's designee shall act as the town council's representative to the MSAD 49 Crawford Fund Committee and shall attend the Crawford Fund Committee budget meeting typically held in May. So that way, it basically states you don't need to do an appointment for this position. It's the chair or someone the chair designates that would attend that meeting.
Yeah.
So it would take care of that piece. What else did it do?
So it's gonna be Aaron anyways, then,
So
right?
it also puts in a piece about when the school will report to us, report annual expenses before, it said before any subsequent disbursement, so we took out the word subsequent and put in disbursement shall be made, but no later, before disbursement shall be made, but no later than June 1st. And then goes on to say that the town shall review the beneficiary's request and annual report to ensure compliance. This was already in there. It was moved from one location to another, and then said, and it would be done by the town council at a meeting held in June. And that way disbursements can be ordered, and because we don't actually have those funds, we have to get them from the investment company. That way they would be here for July when the school season's new calendar year starts. So that's what we have done, and that's what the proposed changes are.
Any discussion on that?
No.
All right, then we'll plan to take action on that amendment to the policy next meeting.
Okay.
Our next item is to discuss Mill Street.
This is an interesting little piece. You don't have anything in your packets for this one. Mill Street, if you're not aware, is actually the street that's located directly across from this building, runs in back of all of the buildings parallel to Main Street. There's a company that is looking to put a cell tower on the top of the Masons building. Masons building is the one where Sonny's is located down below. They needed to know that in order to put a piece of their equipment on top of the Masons building, that they had access to that property. So in the process of researching an easement that they needed to get from the Masons to be able to access their equipment, it was determined through their title search that the Masons do not own the property directly behind their building. It has also been determined that there isn't a deed that says that whose property that is. It has been assumed for a very long time that it belongs to the town, as well as Mill Street has never been dedicated as a public road. The land in which it sits has never been given in a deed to the municipality that anyone can find. And the reason for it is based upon their research, our research, as well as one of the folks at the Masons used to work for a title company surveyor. They had done their own independent research, is that the road has existed since the mid-1800s. It's on all of the old 1800 pictures that are in our office that show various roads in town. It already exists. And all of the conveyances of property from when it was the mills in the back here along the river, all the way through to when it was CMP's, and then when CMP dedicated it to the town, all the conveyances say accepting and reserving, and not reserving, but ensuring the roads that are already laid out. So the land in which the road itself is on has never been deeded to anyone. There's a small deed to the sewer district, Kennebec Sewer District, but not for the road, only for rights to the land underneath the road that they had needed back in the 2000s. And because nobody could find anybody who owned it, CMP signed off from it. But it doesn't reference a deed. It doesn't, anyway. So originally what we were going to do is we thought, well, we'll just get the town to dedicate it as a public easement. Well, you can't, because you don't technically own it. So, and the other piece is in order for that to be done, we would end up having to go to court. And through conversations with our lawyer, if we went to court over it, we would spend an awful lot of money for litigation, only to end up in the same exact situation we're in right now. The road is believed to be belonging to the town. It has been maintained by the town. And someone would have to prove to us otherwise that it was not the town's. If you think about the fact of state and federal funds have been spent to upgrade that street, as well as the parking lot and all those areas down in there, it's always believed to have been the town's, and we don't believe anybody would prove that it's not ours, because we can't prove that it's anybody else's.
So is the dispute just with regard to the street or the parking lot as well?
No, just the street.
Okay.
It's the street, and the surveyors for this project at the Masons only went as far as the Masons. They didn't go all the way through. We were thinking that there must have been, we thought that maybe there would be something with regards to the bridge, and when the bridge was discontinued and the state's layout for the road, we've yet to find anything. So they're going to be looking for an easement for us to sign, and right now it's off to our attorney. They have sent a draft of an easement. It would be for, I think it's a 12-foot stretch of Mill Street, 12-foot wide by, I can't remember what the length is, and then the back parking lot behind the Masons, for them to have the ability to access their equipment. Right now, the easement that we have in hand is for us to the Masons, and then the Masons give them the rights to give an easement to somebody else, and I'm trying to get it cleaned up because it's a little messy. But this has been going on for quite a while, since last fall, that
So
folks have been trying to track this down
They
and try
do
to
put
find anything.
anything up there. Is there going to be any kind of revenue coming in for the town, or is it just something?
There'll be property taxes on the tower.
Okay.
Yep. So, and I believe what it is, they're gonna be leasing space from the Masons.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's between them
Yeah.
and Masons, but
So-
the rest of it would be,
Right.
something that they would have to
Yes.
pay to the municipality as well.
Property taxes.
Yeah, property taxes.
Yep. So what we'd be looking at doing, like I said, the town's attorney is reviewing the lease that they want, and what they're looking for, and depending on how that looks, we'll be getting ready to go ahead and implement that, so that they just have access. It'd be no different than, it's really not any different than a pole permit for CMP that we do. It's just the ability for them to get there. But because of all of this pieces that we found, and we just wanted to make sure the council was aware that it's a very interesting thing. I mean, it happens more than people think, but it's very clear that everybody has believed this to be a town road for 200 years.
And is there going to be any further research on that, or is it
At this
just-
point in time, we have exhausted absolutely everything that we can find, unless something else shows up. The only thing we have left that we're waiting on is CMP is supposedly looking into their records. There's some thought process that maybe there's a deed that didn't actually get recorded.
That's possible.
And so that's what they're looking at.
That's possible.
But there's every indication that it's the municipality's property, except for an actual official. But that also is, it's a litigation cost that the outcome is no different than what we have right now.
No,
So it's
but
just
it
a
would
waste.
save us maybe some further problems down the road of liabilities and things like that.
That's what my thought was, because didn't we run into something similar when we spontaneously found out that we weren't allowed to be plowing roads?
Right.
That was
So
my thought.
it may be a good idea
There's
to
a-
have a deed and say it is the property of Fairfield. Otherwise than that, somewhere down the road, we may end up in a litigation concerning.
So the town's attorney right now doesn't recommend that we go forward with that, because that was one of my first thought processes too, is because it's actually, if you look at Maine Municipal Association's road manual, there's what is called a prescriptive road. And this fits every single definition of a prescriptive road. Usually it's used by residents of a community to make a municipality take and make a road, a public road. In this instance, we would be actually mitigating that. But again, that also requires litigation at a cost to the municipality, where the outcome is no different than what we have right now. And oftentimes, people are fine for you to take care of their property until they think you're actually going to take it away from them. I do know that one of the other issues we have, though, is that the Beatty's property goes all the way to the center line of that road. And we've started some conversations with them about that piece, because their property taxes have been adjusted, so they're not being taxed for all of their land, but their meets and bounds description does take it right to the center of that road, which, by the way, is similar to what happens on Main Street in Waterville. They have very many similar pieces of that.
So, I mean, I think until, from my point of view, until Billy says something to the contrary, we should continue on
Exactly.
without
where we
any
are.
possibility that we, conceding that we don't think that we have the right to that road. I would hate to think we created a controversy that doesn't need to exist.
Exactly. So we're right now at the point, so we're just getting the easement. We're not going to do the, like I said, originally this was all going to be, you were going to dedicate this as a public way, you were going to do all of these things, and we were going to put it all to rest. But then at the end of the day, it was, well, we're just going to keep it exactly the way it is, and we're just not going to mess with it.
One more thing I'm going to mention, and you probably think it's a little bit far-fetched, but it did happen a few years back. Now, if they do decide, and it does, they do put a tower up there, and somebody decides to climb that tower and perhaps threaten, or maybe even, God forbid, take a nosedive off of that, because there was something that happened in another town close to here, and there was a huge water tower that was in the town, and somebody climbed that and
It's not that kind of tower.
to jump off of it. But, well, I mean, anything can be jumped off of. But, I mean, I'm saying that someone might climb up there and decide that they might want to jump off of there. And
So
we don't
the
want
construction of
responsibility
this
for
will
that
be
as
such
well.
that you won't even know that it's there.
Okay.
From what I've been told, it will actually be hidden inside what will look to be nothing more than a chimney.
Oh, well, that's good
Yeah,
then.
you won't even know that this is there, so,
And somebody wouldn't be able to get up there, it'd be too slippery. Good.
no, there'd be no access to it.
Okay.
So, just to keep you in the loop, and so that you know, that's where we're at with that. And hopefully, like I said, Bill's reviewing the easement with any wording changes that we need to do and that sort of stuff,
Okay.
but we'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you.
Our next item is to discuss the annual town budget meeting timetable.
So the dates, the town charter makes it so that there's very specific things that need to happen at very specific times. So what we've done in the past is we've taken town meeting, that date, and backed things up. And made sure that your postings and public hearings, and really this is the public hearing in the mailer. Those are the two very important things that have to happen prior to town meeting. So it's giving us the opportunity to get these scheduled, try to use an existing council meeting date, but also give you enough of a buffer if you needed to host a second public hearing, should we have and ever have an article that was highly controversial and you wanted to make sure you had a second time to see them. That's the way we've had our conversations in the past. So following that, the past 2 years' guidance, those are the dates that we put forward here for you. So of course we know that May 13th is town meeting, dictated by the charter. It must be the second Monday in May. Prior to that, the warrant of course needs to be signed and posted, which means that what you're gonna, when you sign your warrant, you wanna know that you've had your public hearing and that your warrant articles are set so that you don't have to re-sign it. But either way, your warrant would be signed on April 24th, posted on the 3rd. Public hearing, which needs to be 14 days before annual town meeting. This is April 10th. The deadline would have been April 29th. It was one of those pieces where in order to make sure timing-wise you had enough time, should you need to hold a second one at your next 2nd April public hearing, is why we picked this meeting. We didn't want to go too early because, of course, if you get too far out from town meeting, people forget by the time town meeting gets here. And then also needed to have plenty of time to get the mailer done, which would go out on March 13th.
Hopefully you'll remind us again.
Well, council would approve it on March 13th, and then it would be mailed Friday, March 29th, prior to the public hearing. So as long as nobody had any issues with those dates. Those are the dates that we're putting before you.
Is there any other discussion on this? All right. Then
We'll make them happen.
our next item is to discuss other council business. Councilor Lawrence, do you have any other business?
No other business?
Councilor Chandler?
I just wanted to thank our Public Works for cleaning this mess up so quickly.
Yeah,
They always do a very good job.
they certainly do.
Councilor Busk?
No, not tonight.
I have nothing else this evening either. So the next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, February 27th at 2019, and presumably at 6:30 p.m. At this time, the council will recess and sign all documents that require the signature of council members. Do I have a motion for recess?
You do.
Second.
Motion and a second. The council will be in recess.